Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about a combo set from ICM. It is made in 1/48 scale, and here we get a B-26B Marauder with US Air Forces pilots, and also ground personnel is also included here. So it's quite a package for a diorama build, and as you can see, the set number is still 48322, so there is no mention of the DS, which is usually attributed for the diorama sets from ICM. Nevertheless, what I'm showing here on the table is the final shape of this kit, so you'll get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review, and it should be already available, so in case you don't want to wait, you can order it in Modenimex, for example, where they also have some other recent releases from ICM. So, first of all, the box size is quite large. As you can see, we have, I would say, somewhat special box art here. So, this is the comparison with my hand. And on the side, you'll find some information about the kit. So, it's written here that we have 363 parts for the aircraft, 35 parts for pilots and ground personnel, and of course assembled aircraft will be 454 millimeters wide. It means the wingspan will be equal to this number. As far as I can guess, we get only one marking option, at least it is shown here on the side, and also we have the small picture of the figurines which are included. Box is sealed with the tape, so for this I will use knife in order to cut through it. And in the meantime, I can also remind you that I reviewed the previous versions of this aircraft as well, and you can find it on the same channel you are watching at the moment. And the figurines are also available as the separate sets, so you can also check the videos on the same channel. And these were really decent kits, so it will be interesting to see how they are combined together in one box. So the box design is typical for this brand. As you can see, the top section is a bit tricky to remove, but it's doable, surprisingly, because usually it's a bit of a tight fitment. Now I just need to open this box off the table just to make it a bit faster. Here's, oops. So yeah, the box is large, but here is what we have on the box. And now I just need to place it somehow on my table, and I will show you what we have here. So I guess we start with the pilot figurines, which are packed into the separate plastic bag. And here you can see them. So again, these are 1/48 scale figurines. Nevertheless, the design is somewhat mimics what we are used to see in 1/35 scale. And I would say this is a good thing with in terms of ICM, because ICM has some experience with the figurines, and they are making really decent kits of the figurines, and you can see here it with your own eyes. Just keep in mind that we don't get any guiding elements for these figurine parts, so in case you would like to have a precise fitment, you have to do it with your own due care, let's say. Now I'm opening the next plastic bag, which is a bit bigger, because here we have the aircraft parts. So just give me a second. First of all, I will open the plastic bag which was in the plastic bag, and here we have a really nice surprise, because not only the clear frame was packed into the separate plastic bag, but also here we have the foam, which is protecting all those nice parts from the possible damage and scratches. And this is a really great idea, because those parts are good looking, and it would be a shame to get them damaged on arrival. Next, we start with the first gray plastic sprue. So here you'll find the engine gondola parts as well as the wing house. So as you can see, these are somewhat similar to what we saw in the previous version, and each wing side will have to be assembled out of two hulls. This is also, I would say, a standard design and not an unusual thing for such release. Then from the opposite side, here you can see the guiding elements. So these parts are quite large, that's why the guiding elements which will come handy for the overall alignment, and the same can be said about the engine gondolas. And next we have the sprue with some bulkheads and also the tail wing parts. So here with those bulkheads, those large parts will actually be used as the supports for the main wing, and this is a really smart design because first of all it gives you the right alignment of the wings and the fuselage in terms of the angle, and the second, it makes the whole structure a bit more rigid, so that's why it is important to have such thing included, or let's say accounted for in the original design, and it's really nice to see that ICM actually features it here. The tail wings should be assembled out of two halves, as you can notice, and the whole interior should be nicely detailed for this scale. The only question is how you will expose it, because there are not that many options, to be honest, but you will see it further when we will be checking the fuselage parts. So here you can see also another pair of the wing parts, and also we have some bulkheads for the fuselage. I guess the bulkheads are also necessary for the overall rigidity of the fuselage, because it will be quite a large assembly and you cannot achieve it any other way. Next, as you can hear, I'm opening another plastic bag. And I'm somewhat surprised that we get the... So these were US pilots and ground... So US pilots and ground personnel were on one sprue. I was actually expecting two separate frames, but all of those guys were on the first frame which we saw in the video. Okay, next I've opened the second plastic bag. So here we have the fuselage halves. As you can see, these are quite large. Here is comparison with my hand, so do not underestimate this kit. It will require some due care, and of course the final result will depend on you, but at least we get the guiding pins here, which will help you with alignment of these large parts, which is also cool. Here we have the interior features. And in my opinion, this is a nice attention to the small features, even though I said already that the interior will be somewhat tricky to show on the finished model, but maybe you will find a way. Next, we continue with another pair of plastic sprues. I will show you only one, so just give me a moment. And what I'm trying to correct here is this small pitot tube, I think, or maybe it's a machine gun barrel, but it got bent. Obviously it is fixable with warming up the part and turning it into the right direction. Here you can also see some parts for the engine gondola. So first of all, the this frontal section is molded as a single piece part, which is quite nice, and also we have both engines included here, so that's also a good addition in 1/48 scale set. For the landing gear wheels, well, it depends whether you are okay with the assembly out of several parts. As you can see, we don't have any features on the tire walls, but maybe for out of the box build it should be enough. But in case you plan to build something more sophisticated, then maybe it's worth investing into some aftermarket release made out of resin, obviously, or maybe 3D printed. Next we continue with another plastic sprue. So here we have various minor parts for the interior. I need to zoom in a bit. So all of these parts are quite tiny, even though this is a 1/48 scale. Here is comparison with my fingers, and you can see that some of the parts will require tweezers, because otherwise it will be quite problematic to get them into the right spot. We also get the foam for protection of the thin flats here. And we also get some cockpit parts on this large frame. This is actually the last gray plastic frame here, but overall molding quality looks fine. We have the landing gear legs here, and I would say that it's just a matter of careful assembly of all of these parts together. Again, there is plenty of aftermarket already available, and you can get it from all the popular brands. The only question is how much you are willing to spend for all of this stuff. Next we have a quite large decal sheet here, so just give me a second. It's not mentioned where it is printed, but the printing quality looks decent, so let's close the lenses maybe, so that it won't be too bright. Here you can see this decal sheet, and also we have some interior decals, so it means the dials for the cockpit. Unfortunately, no seat belts for the pilot's seats, so for the seat belts you will have to get some aftermarket, meaning the footage or maybe some textile belts as well. Next we have the assembly manual for the aircraft itself. So here is what is hinting on the original plastic which we reviewed together in the previous video. As you can see here, we have the large brochure from the set number 48320, not 322 as today. And on the first pages you'll find the parts map. All of the parts will be used except of some clear parts and one machine gun, so pay attention and try not to lose any of those. And here you can see the cockpit or interior assembly. A lot of things are actually going inside. As you can see, there's sub-assemblies as well. A bomb bay will be nicely detailed, and you can open it and expose it on your aircraft, or you can just completely close it in case you would like to depict the aircraft in some different position. So here you can see the various assembly options explicitly mentioned on the steps. So it will be kind of difficult to miss them, but still it's better to be careful and check what is written here and there, so that later you will not have to, let's say, break whole aircraft just to remake it. Next we continue with the engine assembly. So as you can see, it's nicely detailed. That's why I was saying it's worth maybe getting some PE in order to replicate the wiring as well, and maybe also not gluing into place this frontal section of the cowling, because this way you will be able to expose one of the engines. Next we continue with landing gear here. So it's both main landing gear and nose landing gear. And next we continue with the propellers, landing gear wheels. We have the masking templates for the clear parts. And here you can see first two marking options. Those are not copied in today's kit as far as you can see. Or they are, because this one is here. Let me check the decal sheet. So I can see that actually this K5 number, aircraft number, is included. So actually you get 3 marking options, even though the box shows you that you get only 1. But that's not all. We also get the separate manual for the pilot figurines. So it is printed as the one paper with 2 pages. And here you can see that the marking guide is combined together with the assembly manual. So overall, this is quite a nice combine 1/48 scale, and as I was saying, it might be handy for some diorama ideas. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion, so do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. And I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.